Hello. How is everybody doing tonight? I am live. It's good to see everybody today. Um, how's everybody doing? Hi. So glad you're here. So I've been on this deep dive journey into the case of Summer Wells, and I wanted to hop on to see if you guys had any questions, wanted to talk about it. We can go over the full case again, or just kind of a review of it. But I have just been racking my brain on the Summer Wells case, and I just figured you guys would like a little discussion about it. So, happy to see everybody here. Let's get started. If there's any questions that you have, please put them in the chat. No, I'm going to try to get to you. I have taken notes, so I'll probably look a lot at my notes as well. Just kind of to refresh myself because I have the worst memory in the world. So I like to kind of be able to see my notes and go off of that. So we're talking about this 5-year-old little girl who just vanished into thin air back in 2021. And to this day, no one knows what happened. This, of course, is the case of Summer Wells. This case has so many different layers to it. There's so much going on with this case. There's so many different things. It's just so many. You start going down one avenue and you think you have it figured out, and you do not. And so it's a really interesting case to dive into and get into. So I'm glad that you guys are here for it, and I hope that you find it just as interesting as I do. Another big reason that I wanted to dive into the true crime case of Summer Wells is because there's just not a lot of movement in this case. It's one of those that they haven't really found any more evidence, and it feels like after a couple of years they just kind of fell off and we don't hear about it. There are people who have not heard about this case at all, and this was right after the pandemic, so you got to imagine, like, we were dealing all that we've dealt with in the last 5 years is the pandemic, and everything with politics and everything up and down. People, don't pay attention to some cold cases anymore. And that was one of the big reasons why I wanted to do a deep dive on Summer Wells, is because I felt like it wasn't getting enough attention, and this 5-year-old girl just vanished. So yeah, if you have not followed me or seen any of my deep dives, I have like 3 or 4 videos so far on this case. I'm just pumping them out, putting more and more out, because this is a case that's kind of never ending, and still we have so many questions. So this little girl, there was no evidence, no screaming, but I feel like the family knows more than they are letting on in this case. So this is the disappearance of Summer Wells, the girl who vanished completely without a trace. Let's just go over the case first, just for those who have not heard about this case, and then we can talk about it. So Summer Wells is from a quiet little Tennessee town. It's a very rural area. There was lots of trees, and they lived in a house that was kind of out in the country. On the property was a house that Summer, her mom Candace, her dad Don, and her 3 brothers lived in. The time that she disappeared, it was broad daylight. It was about 6-ish maybe. In the day between 3 and 6 is when we believe that she did vanish. No one saw her leave. No one heard a scream. There is no trace of her been found. And that is very unusual for a missing persons case, especially with a 5-year-old child. So, this is just the heartbreaking and baffling disappearance of Summer Moon Utah Wells. This happened in Tennessee, and it's rural Hawkins County, which is like dirt roads, dense trees, that sort of thing. So let's talk about the day that this happened. It was June 15th, 2021. In Rogersville, Tennessee. This is a rural community tucked deep within the Appalachian Mountains. The Wells family lived on a remote, winding road surrounded by trees, forest, fields. That afternoon, Summer was playing outside with her mother. They were planting flowers in the yard, her mother Candace and her grandmother. I will go through a timeline of the day if you would like that. But the day was kind of goes back and forth because there's a lot of contradictions in what people are saying. So, but from what we know, right before she went missing, she was planting flowers in the yard with her mother Candace and her grandmother, whose name is Candy. I often just refer to her as Grandma because it gets really confusing. Now, Candace says that Summer went inside for just a brief moment. Basically, what happened from Candace's point of view is that Grandma, Candace, and Summer are planting flowers, and Summer says she's kind of bored and wants to go inside. Candace says, I will be in just a few minutes. Her mom says, I will be in there in a few minutes. She tells her brothers, watch after Summer. She goes just a couple feet to the trailer that Summer's grandmother lived in. That was just, feet away from the front door to help Grandma fix her knee brace. She does this. She goes inside, asks the boys, where's Summer? They say, oh, she went downstairs, Mom. And she goes downstairs, and Summer is not there. They search the property. They search the house. And she just disappeared out of nowhere. It's so strange. It's very, very strange. So someone said, how far away was she, or is she, from the missing Tennessee young boy, Sebastian Rogers? Let's look it up. So this was in Rogersville. I don't believe that they're super close, but honestly, I don't know Tennessee that well. So I have Google right here. Might as well just Google it. Oops. Sebastian Rogers' case is another one that I would like to do a deep dive into because I feel like there's a lot of questions there. I'm going to move you over here for just a second. So it definitely looks like Tennessee. Hendersonville, Tennessee. Okay, so let's do this. MapQuest. I'm a 90s child. I gotta get on the mobile MapQuest. It is raining here, so if I lose signal, I'm so sorry, guys. So let's do. Rogersville, Tennessee. To come on. Okay. Why is this not working? Get directions. Oh my goodness. Hello, welcome everybody. Right now I'm map questing, trying to find how far the Sebastian Rogers case was to Summer Wells. And I'm having some difficulty because that's life. Let's just do this. Just bear with me, guys. Hendersonville, Tennessee to Rogersville. Tennessee. Okay, so it looks like about 3 hours and 53 minutes, so about 4 hours. So could they be connected? I mean, they're in the same state. Summer Wells to me seems more family involved, and yeah, Summer Wells to me seems more family involved. Sebastian Rogers seems more stranger involved to me, but I have not looked into the full case of Sebastian Rogers on a deep dive, so I could change my mind. I have done a video or a couple videos on him, but as far as like deep diving into that case, I haven't done that. Right now, I am deep diving into Summer Wells, and that's why I know that so well. But that's a really good point to bring up that they are very close. So, all right, so we got to the point in the story where we're just beginning of her disappearing. This is just kind of an overview of the case because I know people want to ask questions and I want to get into the details. So I'm just kind of doing a quick breakdown of the case for those who don't know it, because there's people out there who don't know this case. So Candace just, which is Summer's mom, just said, go in and play. And when she came back, she was just gone. She calls Don, which is the father. She hangs up the phone with Don, calls the cops right away, and says, my 5-year-old daughter is missing. Don also calls 911, and then he heads back to the house. It says that around 6:30, her father called 911 saying the little girl had vanished. And then within just hours, it was everywhere. And I remember seeing this case maybe, I would say probably the day after. There's some cases that I see right away. But this case, I know it took a little bit to really expand because it was so late at night when she went missing. But I do know that there was searches all over those woods, all over that property. Her dad, Don Wells, has come out and said, like, they searched our house, our home, 11 times. So they really did look for this little girl. They really did, like, try really hard to find Summer Wells. And they just couldn't find anything. They did this dog search. They released dogs, and the scent stopped at the driveway. And that's really strange because in a lot of cases, like, when they lose a scent, it doesn't just stop. This scent just stopped. And that could mean one of two things. She was put in a car, or she was moved from that area. But that was the last place that the dog scent picked up. And that is a huge thing in this investigation. Um, I talked about how it's important to point out that it was raining that day. That could have messed with it. But it really seems like we need to be concentrated more on the dog losing its scent right at the road. Like, that's strange to me. And a lot of people don't acknowledge that as much. So I really want to, like, I know I'm beating a dead horse, but like, we really want to talk about that, you know? So the TBI and the FBI also joined the case. They received thousands of tips. They still are receiving tips on this case, but none of them are leading anywhere. We don't have anything that says, like, this person did it, or check into this person, or so on and so forth. The investigators say they can't rule out anyone because they can't rule out that it was someone else who did it. Can't rule out the parents. They can't even rule out if it was an accident because the woods by her house are so dense, so dense. So it could have been that she went to the woods and it was an accident. I think the thing that really needs to be focused on is that there was no warning of this. There was no sounds that were made. Candace had said that there had been times before where Summer or her brothers did go missing. That did happen. But just to have no screaming, no noises, no car noises, it's very, very strange. So it's something to definitely keep in the back of your mind. So as the search dragged on, people online took this case and just ran with it. I mean, they really did formulate all kinds of opinions. And I think one of the big things was when there's so little information, people just make up whatever they want to make up to get the answers that they want. And the really sad thing that I have come to notice about true crime is if it's an unsolved case and there's no answers, people are going to think that they're right. And when you formulate opinions and you say, I am right about this, you cut off all of any other possibility. And it just makes it really, really hard to, you ignore evidence and you ignore other possibilities, and then you're just stuck. So that's what was happening. The internet was saying, it's Dawn and Candace, and that's it. It's crazy. But so there was a couple of possibilities. People thought that maybe someone was watching the home and knew that Summer would be there. So this is what gets me. She got home with her mom about 3:30, and they didn't go to town every day. This was something that was different, and so someone had to have literally been sitting there waiting for them to get home to know that she was home and that there was opportunity there. The other possibility is that something happened inside the home, and it was possibly the parents or someone covering it up. And I definitely think the latter, because I think you'd have to have a perfect storm for the first one to work. Someone had been watching the house the whole time, knew there was opportunity, knew what to do, and knew Summer would come out that door. And I don't think anybody knew Summer was going to come out that door, if I'm being completely honest. Like, it was such a random thing. Authorities found no evidence of forced entry or anything like that. They also couldn't confirm what happened inside the Wells home that day. Now, I've heard that the brothers said they didn't see her, but Candace said that they did. So that's definitely different. Even among the family members, the timeline was confusing. Um, Don first said that he got there and no police was there. Then he said he got there and all the police were there. So he couldn't figure that out. Summer's grandmother gave a slightly different account. Summer's mom gave slightly different account. And then you get this part of the story that is just like, so that day, Candace, Summer's grandmother, and Summer went to town to take Summer's grandmother to the hospital. While she was in the emergency room, Candace calls up a friend, and they go over and they pick up that friend, and that friend ends up hanging out with them the rest of the day. This friend was like a 16-year-old boy, 15, 16-year-old boy. It was a family friend. I guess Candace had knew his mother. He wasn't really supposed to be hanging out with Candace because the mom didn't really like Candace anymore. So here we have a grown woman hanging out with this underage child. Hunter, who is the name of the child, he says that Candace gave him things I can't mention here, that are adult. Candace denies this because Candace doesn't want to get in trouble, just to be honest. But as this case got more national attention, that part of the story became extremely important and very creepy because, and this is something that I haven't mentioned because I don't really try to put speculation in my videos, but I have seen past posts with Candace and this boy, Hunter, and they're very adult in nature. And that is not a good look for someone who has just had their daughter go missing. That's for sure. So Candace kind of comes under a lot of fire. You know, she's creepy with this young boy. She's the last to see Summer. None of her stories make sense. What's going on here? But then you look at the flip side and you have her father, whose name is John. And he has had multiple run-ins with the law. He has had multiple incidents of DV. There's been speculation of child things in the past that he's gotten in trouble for. I mean, he's not a great person. So you have Candace and Dawn both having very bad past, and then their child goes missing. Not a good look. And here's the thing. After Summer went missing, Dawn and Candace appeared in multiple different interviews. They did local interviews, and then they did like things like Dr. Phil and morning shows, stuff like that. And this was all in the attempt to find Summer. But what ended up happening was the parents came under huge fire for everything. You could see their stories not matching up. You can see how they would be guilty. It is a rough thing, them going into the public like they did. Very, very rough thing. But still, investigators, they never filed anything against the parents. So we can't say that the parents did anything. There was nothing filed against them at all. And I think it makes this case so hard because you don't know where the truth is, where the speculation is, what to feel, because this case is just so muddy and so, it's just a pile of just craziness. and at the center of it is a missing 5-year-old little girl. It's so sad, so very sad. So what really happens in this case and what made it so interesting was the footage and the pictures that we have in this case. We have a video of Summer swimming. And that day, Summer did go swimming in a little pond at the park. And in this video, she is alive and well. She is swimming. She's in a swimming suit. She seems happy. So we do know that that is correct. So we have that. We also have the picture, which was a small snippet of a video that Candace's mom, so Summer's grandma, took in the back of the car. And it shows Summer laying against a milk jug, completely asleep. And it's just a very eerie picture. If you haven't seen it, definitely go look it up. It's very, very eerie picture. People have questioned a lot of things about it, whether she was here with us or not. And it's extremely sad to think that in any way. So we have that. We have a picture or a video that was on TikTok of Summer, and she's dancing, and in the background it says "for sale." People really went wild with thinking that that was a ad, and if that was, that is just so sad, so sad. So, as of today, this is what we have. We have a 5-year-old girl missing, blonde hair, blue eyes, cute little girl. At the time, her head was shaved, but she has blonde hair. We have parents that have a lot going on. We have a house that has a lot going on, and we have no leads. No evidence, no leads. She literally disappeared. TBI says the investigation is active and still going on, but we don't have a lot. And it's really, really, really sad. If there's anybody out there that has any information, please contact the TBI. You can find the number on numerous of my videos. I try to always put it on there because we need to find this girl. We need to find this little 5-year-old girl. So that is kind of the synopsis, the little rundown of the case. There's a lot more to it, of course, as always, but that's kind of the rundown of it. It's immensely sad when you have a little child, a little girl who goes missing, and you just have no answers at all. And I think that's what weighs on me a lot is that we just don't know. We just have no idea what happened to her. So anybody have any questions or comments or anything related to Summer Wells or anything like that? Thank you for the follow. Hi. Just a little bit about me. I do true crime videos every day. I do deep dives. I wasn't intending on doing deep dives, but I started with the JonBenét Ramsey case, and I just kind of blew up since then. I've done Idaho 4, and now I've done others, but now I'm working on Summer Wells. I release, like I said, videos every single day, usually 2 per day, so you can go on there and find a backlog of all kinds of true crime videos if you would like. My mission is to push out videos, push out people, push out stories of people that don't get a lot of attention or need attention, things on those lines. So that's who I am. Have you been in a live when I took the group down to the Idaho Vandal Healing Garden? Yes, I have. I was on a live with that when you did that. That was so powerful to see that. I would love to see it myself one day. That case is one that people have just latched onto and will not let go. Like I said, I've done a deep dive on it, and it was absolutely horrific. It's one of those that I had to put away because if I didn't, I would still be spiraling today on it. So I put it to the side, and I just kind of was like, I need to move on. I need to, get into something different. When did Summer go missing? So 2021, she went missing. I can tell you the exact date here in a second. Where did I put that? Here we go. June 15th, 2021. And this is in Rogersville, Tennessee. So she's been missing a while. Like, we think about all the things that have happened since 2021, and it's like, whew. All the things that we've done, and, all the people that we've had go missing since then. I have a video coming up, and I want you guys to really be on the lookout for this video. I'm editing it actually as we speak, but it is about the similarities in the two kids that disappeared in Canada to the Summer Wells case. And it is mind-blowing how similar it is, but so far away that it was in Canada and we're talking about Tennessee. Like that, but it's so similar. It was two kids in a house that was surrounded by woods, and they disappeared. And it's horrific. So be on the lookout for that. I have that video coming. I have a video that talks about Summer Wells' aunt that also went missing like years before Summer was even born, and how weird that is that there is two family members gone missing. It's a very strange thing. So I have that coming up as well. This case has just been a spiral for me, because I think with this one, what makes this one really hard is I don't have a lot of information. Like John Bonet, I had video after video after video after video because I had so much information to go through. With this one, it feels like I'm stretching for information because it's just not out there. And what we do have sometimes is speculation. And I try not to put out speculation. And when I do, I like say, this is pure speculation, because I want to put out as much fact as I can in these cases, because that's what's important to get out there. Hello. Welcome in, Joy Brianna. Nice to have you. You do TikTok tips. I might need to look at your page. Yeah, welcome in, guys. I can't believe there's 4 people. I have done lives before. I am not good at lives at all. I am not good at doing a live, and so I've only had like maybe 1 person or 0 come into my lives. So I appreciate you guys being here and coming by and hanging out with me. I would love to do lives more. I'd love to do live cases more. It's so hard for me. I say way too much. That's why I edit out all of my ums. Yeah. It's just not my thing. Lives are just not my thing. I would rather do video. But I do like talking to you guys live and seeing all the people because it makes it feel like I'm not just talking to a void. So, any other questions about I get up to 10K on my main account and get up to 15K people on this one? Wow. That's awesome. That's great. I just got to 10K like a couple months ago, I think. And it took a lot of work to get there. This TikTok thing is not easy, y'all. Like, I don't know if you guys understand. It is so hard. When I come live, that's when no connection. Yeah, it's TikTok's no joke. Just getting people to view your content is so hard. Getting in front of the right people is very, very hard. So yeah. So any questions about Summer Wells or comments or anything like that? Also, I would love to hear your guys' opinions. If you have any ideas on what I should do for another deep dive. My next deep dive I have an idea of one. I have an idea for a couple, but I'm not sure I'm going to get there yet. So anybody have any cases that they really want to see a deep dive on or details on? My thing is kind of getting details. I know, like with the Ellen Greenberg case that I did a deep dive on it, and I tried to find the most accurate, like, factual things, and I went deep. I go deep in these deep dives. Like, it's all consuming. Relisha Rudd, I think about her all the time. Okay, I've done a video on Relisha Rudd. I would have to look into that and see if there's enough to do a deep dive. I do know that when I researched that case, I was like, I'm pretty sure I know who did it. And we just can't get them or whatever. But yes, I will look into that. That's a case I think about a lot too, because she was so young. Like these kid cases. Thinking, I was like, after Jean Bonnet, I was like, I'm not going to do any more kids. I just can't. And then here I am. I just keep getting them for some reason. But they're so important. So important. And especially with cases like Summers, where she just disappeared. She could still be out there. And that is so crazy to think about, that there is a girl out there who either knows or doesn't know that she's a missing person. I mean, a 5-year-old is kind of conscious of things, I feel like, and would know. But just these kids that are taken, and I just always think about where they are and if I could help, and I just want to help so bad. Yeah, it's really hard. Doing kid cases is just really, really hard. But really, Sherrod, that's a really good request. I will definitely look into that. Halloween is Friday as well. Anybody doing anything interesting? Anybody? I have a daughter. She's 9. And so we're probably going to go trick or treat with her. She's kind of at this weird age where she likes spooky things, but I don't want to like totally freak her out. So I'm kind of like in this balance of like, do I have her watch Scream and Halloween like my dad did at the age? Or do I wait and have her watch like some of the more tamer stuff until she gets a little older? I don't know. I watched Halloween super early on. and I became obsessed with scary movies and filming and how they film them and stories. And that is why I do this. Um, I have 4 girls. Mine are 18, 13, 11, and 6. Oh, bless you, woman. um, that's a lot. That's a lot of like teenage angst in a house. I hope you're still doing okay. Because mine being at 9 right now has this attitude that's just, yeah, never a dull moment. Absolutely. That's how it is with mine. She's very into anime right now. So she's been watching anime, and we've had that like the talk of like, this is not real. But she's very mature and just a great kid. She really is. I lucked out. But these teenage years are getting hard. I don't know how you do it. But I think that's also like putting it back into this perspective. Like that is why I get the kid cases a lot. Is they always seem to find me because I I'm so passionate. I have worked with kids my whole life. I'm around kids a lot. I have my own child, and I am so passionate about those cases because I just know how many kids get lost in the system. There are so many kids that just fall through the cracks and go missing, or, you know, something happened to, or their parents do something because adults aren't paying attention. And we're seeing more and more and more of it, especially with parents doing something. Um, we're seeing all these cases where parents are unaliving their children. And I just want to make it my mission to try to educate people, so that doesn't keep happening. Um, it's really, really hard out here. And we have to be aware that children get taken. Children get, you know, children are suffering inside their own homes. And we as neighbors, we as true crime consumers should be on the lookout to help whoever we can in that situation. Um, so you said mine are almost all grown. My oldest is 21. My youngest is 16. That's a, yeah, they are all grown. Um, I can't believe how many children seem to, or how many children seem to misplace their children, or how many people, I'm assuming, misplace their children. Yeah. So I don't know if you guys know parents. There we go. Yeah, I gotcha. I don't know if you guys have heard of this new Melody case that is happening, um, where she went missing and the mom is not talking. I'm like, what happened? What happens in your life to where you're like, I don't know where my kid is? It's insane. I would never be one of those parents ever. Um, well, it's getting a little late and I'm getting a little tired, so I think I'm gonna jump off of the live. I might try to start doing these more, especially with the deep dives that I'm working on, because I feel like this is a really good way to get out the thoughts in my head. I feel like this is a really good way to also hear your guys' questions and opinions and all of that. So I might start doing more of these, now that people are actually paying attention. Have a great night. I've been loving your videos. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Sincerely, you guys are the reason that I keep doing this. I'm trying to push out more, and Thanks for hanging out. Let me know if you ever want to go to the garden again. It's close. Okay, cool. Yeah, I will definitely let you know. Um, I am trying to. Loving is weird to say, I guess. No, I think that's a great way of putting it. I think that we can be really good true crime consumers and um, know what it's for. And so I get you. I totally get you. If you guys could go and just help by sharing Summer Wells' story, sharing the stories that I put on here, it'll be just a huge help to me because not only does more people see it, but it starts getting traction and then we start getting picked up and people are starting to pay more attention. Um, so I would definitely appreciate that. You guys are just amazing. Keep doing what you're doing. And just be safe this Halloween. Let me know if you guys are dressing up as anything and your kids and all that. And just be safe out there because it's crazy. So I'll see you guys next time. I adore you all. I will see you soon. Bye.